So, see any good moves lately? Welcome back to the week 6 recap of Big Brother 27. I am Joey Olberding, and today I am joined by the courageous, the joyous CJ. How you doing, CJ?
I'm doing good, Joey. Thank you so much for the flattering comments. Yeah, I ain't no coward, as they say.
Yeah, a great thing to be because they were sure of a lot of cowards on this season of Big Brother. But I do want to ask CJ, what is your experience with Big Brother going into, I guess, this podcast?
Yeah, so I would say I got into Big Brother, I want to say about 5 years ago is where I really started like getting into it around right around the pandemic, where
Hmm.
kind of really opened my eyes more so to Big Brother, other than it just being this show that I knew that was on. Really dove into it. Not really had the greatest start. The first season that I watched, like just went back and watched, was Celebrity Big Brother 3, which was not a very well received season of Big Brother. But and then I was like, okay, let me try one of like the original like Big Brother seasons. Then I started with 15, which is
Oh my
also
god.
not a great season of Big Brother to start with. But I got through it, and I got I got I got drawn in by the actual gameplay as
Hmm.
opposed to necessarily what people were doing in the house. And the strategy behind the things that people were doing. Fell in love with players like Andy Herron. Um,
Yeah.
then went back and watched Vanessa Russo. Then I went back further. Let me see what the older seasons are. Dan Giesling, um, uh, Daniel Reyes, like some of these OGs who are just making really great strategic moves. So the strategy of Big Brother and Big Brother the game is to me very interesting. It's just kind of you just kind of have to also settle in your mind that it's basically an adult version of a Nickelodeon show. Um,
Yeah.
at the same time as it being a social strategy game. Um, so there's Big Brother the game, and then there's Big Brother the television show. So it's like you gotta, it's a weird balance that you're
Very
trying to figure out there. But I've just sat back and try to take in the seasons that ever since then. It has its ups and downs. It's hard to like you're a Big Brother fan, and trying to like, hey, there's a lot of really interesting things about the show. You get your friends to watch it, and the first thing that they see is this really bad image of this island blowing up, like this
Yeah.
very horrible like grab. They're like, huh, that's what you're that's the social intense strategy. Like, no, it's there. It's like, you gotta like get into that. So it was only like maybe like the past like 3 seasons that I really been into live feeds.
Yeah.
And so to really get into like the actual thick of things as opposed to what the edit's showing you. And that's where Big Brother's real bread and butter is for strategic masterminds, if you will.
Yeah, no, that's the really cool thing about Big Brother, and part of the reason why I'm still doing this podcast, even though there's some other interesting shows also going on right now. It's Big Brother is unique with the live aspect of it. I can see people in real time be either very good or, as in the case of this season, very bad at Big Brother. Um, I do have to ask my one question about your explanation is why did you start with BB15 of the regular seasons?
Okay, so I was when I was going through on Paramount Plus, I was just siphoning through like, oh, where should I start? Just kind of like just Googling around. I noticed that season 16 was the first HD season. So
Okay.
I was like, I wonder what happened right before this. That's really like, I know it's not like the greatest like,
Yeah, that's an answer.
science, but that was what it was. I was like, okay, this is the first HD season of Big Brother. Let me go one back to see what did Big Brother look like right before they decided we're gonna go high def and all this stuff, and then it happened to be season 15, and season 15 was what it was,
Yeah,
for
that's
better or for
interesting
worse.
though. No, that would be something. I could see myself thinking the exact same thing. Like, of
Mhm.
like, well, it's kind of a weird in between time before you go HD. So yeah, no, I totally get that. That's actually interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a significantly less experience with Big Brother. I've gone back and I've watched Big Brother 2. I've actually recently, maybe partially because I've been doing this podcast and I've been more interested in Big Brother, I've been watching a lot of like random international seasons that are just on YouTube. I'll get them in my recommended. And so the other day I just watched like the first episode of season 2 of BBUK, and it's like
Mhm.
it's different. Like the year 2001 before 9/11, like different time, and I think that's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, let me ask you, what do you think about this season so far?
I think this season is definitely entertaining. Is it the greatest for like strategic gameplay? Is everyone making optimal game moves? Absolutely not. There are tons of people in this house, majority of them who have no idea what the show really entails. Probably haven't seen a live feed ever. Um, Maybe with the exception of people like Jimmy, and Rachel, obviously. But in terms of just pure entertainment, like these people are running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Uh, Amazing hubris from a lot of people. Uh, Unnecessary and undeserved confidence in some people. And then you have players who just are unapologetically themselves, like Ava, like Morgan, like Rachel, like Keanu, to a certain
Like
degree, and then you
Kelley,
have
yeah,
Kelly.
goes
Yeah,
on and on and on and on.
yeah, yeah. Birthday. I mean, this cast is there's if you maybe mix like take half of the cast and recast them with 8 other people, then maybe you have like the perfect storm of optimal gameplay and what mixed in with entertainment value. I think this is ironically just a cast of destined first boots, and someone's going to end up winning.
Yeah,
Uh, and that's kind of and that's kind of where it is. You can see every single person has an attribute about them that was like, I could see you being the first boot. And that's kind of where we ended up. Probably the only one that only 2 people I wouldn't say that about are probably maybe Jimmy and Rachel, obviously because they know the show better than everyone else. But everybody else has been, you know, a roller coaster ride in
yeah,
terms of my expectations, what they've presented in the show, where they've been going with their games. Fan support for people has, you know, done that. I think fan support has turned back around on Keanu for obvious reasons, which we can get into. But I find it completely entertaining. Like I've been enthralled. Thursday was appointment viewing, one of the most exciting Big Brother live episodes that I can remember. So this that was the Rylie eviction was akin to the Tucker eviction
yeah,
last season.
yeah,
So it's just that these are the kind of things that you want, which is kind of what the blockbuster was developed for, was for nights like Thursday. And I think that that's the kind of situation that kind of justifies the blockbuster's existence in the game,
yeah, for
which
sure.
I think it's been great.
I loved your explanation about like these contestants, just seeming like they're all first boots and like they shouldn't really be here to some extent still. I'm just thinking about this. I feel like this cast was born to like come together on a season of like the real world or road rules or something like that. And there are all these bombastic, weird, egocentric personalities who have no right interacting with each other, dot dot dot, and now they're also being asked to play this game together. um it's awesome in its own way, exhausting in its own way too,
Yeah,
frustrating in its
definitely.
own way, but I'm still here, I'm still watching, and I'm consistently entertained by the people on screen. um that being said, I don't know necessarily how good of a season of Big Brother it is, but I think it's good television. I think a lot of like actual real Big Brother fans I've talked to have enjoyed it, but have also been frustrated by it, which I get.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely one of those. we're trying to find the happy medium with it. Like, are we entertained? Is a lot of the chaos, fun and like, you know, just it creates a lot of unexpected things. Like, it's not a predictable season by any means. Like, there's
Yeah,
no way that we could have predicted this boot order, these people making these decisions. But it's frustrating because it's like, you shouldn't be making these decisions. These, like, you guys are playing on hard mode for no reason. And it's that's, I think, the thing that's frustrating is that while on one hand it's entertaining because the events of the show remain unpredictable, we know, particularly for the people that if you're rooting for someone, that more often than not they're making decisions that are bad for their games, bad for their allies' games, and in the end, making those kind of decisions and what you do in the response of those bad decisions can change what the fan sentiment is on you and your gameplay, which is kind of what we've seen happen with people like Mickey and Morgan. And that's kind of where you're left at, where it's like, oh, I was rooting for you, but then you did this stupid thing, and you're standing by the stupid thing for a stupid reason, and then it can get frustrating in that sense because then you feel like now I have nobody to root for. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, the Big Brother fans for the most part are kind of behind the same people that we've kind of settled in. And while there are other people who we may be frustrated by, we're accepting that they are being who they are, and that's
yeah.
okay. They're still entertaining to some degree.
Yeah, that's also a very unique thing about Big Brother that I think I appreciate, but I'm a little more mixed on is the fact that since it is live, like people's opinions of the the house guests will change week by week and day by day. Like people absolutely loved Mickey for the first like 4 weeks or whatever, and then one HOH later, and everything came crumbling down. And I don't know if there's like real disdain for her, but there's definitely like dislike for her now, which didn't exist before. Which is to say that it's probably valid, and I personally, my opinion has also gone down. But I'm just saying, like, it's interesting how that works. But yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah, just it goes to like they're people that you're rooting for. You hope that they're making optimal decisions that not only benefit their gameplay but their allies' gameplay. And when they don't, that can happen. People make mistakes all the time, but it's what you do after the fact. What your next move is and how you justify those decisions. That's really what can end up kind of turning on you. And I think for Mickey's sake, if we can just kind of get into some of these players here, I think for Mickey makes a bad decision, gets her ally Jimmy put on the block and voted out, and continues to say that, oh, this is the best move for myself, this is the best move for my allies. He continues to beat down the horse that Jimmy was coming after her when everyone else knows that Jimmy wasn't. And it's just, she's just constantly dug a hole for herself. And instead of, accepting the culpability and the responsibility that comes with making a move like that, she's like either passing it off as, oh, it's Jimmy's fault because he was doing XYZ when everyone knows that it wasn't, or she's coming up with different reasons or lies or excuses as to, um, why what she's doing in the house is justified. And that doesn't even include like the amount of time she's thrown her other people that she's supposed to be working with under the bus,
yeah,
and then claiming that she didn't. Then it's hard to know like how much of her lies she actually believes. Um, I think she actually believes that she didn't influence Ava's HOH, which shocks me
I
if
know
she actually thinks that.
it's crazy.
um, but the way she talks about it makes me think that she believes that she had nothing to do with Zach going on the block. But hey, like I think once she gets out of the house and has a chance to kind of look back on her game and what she was doing, I think even she'll be surprised by some of the decisions that she made.
Yeah, I agree, and you're right. Let's just get into it. So Mickey's kind of in the middle of this graphic here. We'll kind of figure out where to go from here, but I mean, I concur with basically everything you're saying. It's interesting with Mickey too because you're right. She's not really taking credit, or she doesn't really seem to believe that she should take credit for the Ava HOH. But at the same time, she still thinks she's like a mastermind. She still thinks that she's controlling the house, and she still thinks, maybe not as much anymore after last week, but I definitely think that she still thinks she has all this influence and power and is playing this great game. Now, I don't know if that's valid considering that all the people she seems to be close to are pretty obviously turning on her, whether it be Morgan or certainly Vince now or whomever else. But yeah, she seems to be in a sea full of house guests who are walking contradictions. She might be the biggest one, and that's really saying something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it just goes into, you know, even after her HOH, like, and the way that she carried herself during Ava's HOH, telling people about the votes that she had, and that she would come to Ashley with what she ended up deciding she was going to do. Um, even last week, like, knowing, like, feeling like she had the most. Now, ironically, in certain situations, like the Ava HOH, Mickey was the swing vote. Like, she did have the power, but all it took was all these people to, like, understand, like, wait, Mickey is deciding who goes home.
Hmm.
Like, Mickey was the swing vote, so, like, in theory, she decided who went home, but she wasn't influencing anyone else's decision. And I think that's kind of what people, eventually ended up turning themselves off on Mickey. Mickey feeling like really domineering, like demanding Ava do this XYZ with her replacement nomination. Um, and then you know feeling like she could kind of order boss people around the house. There's stuff with the house stuff. I think she asked someone to deliver her cookies one time.
Yes. Yeah.
It's it's there's a lot of, like, other things where she kind of gives off this aura of someone who is entitled, and I think that people have kind of caught on to that. And I think it really didn't happen until she became HOH and she had this power to wield, and she made a decision. It worked in theory, in, like, the fact that she wanted Jimmy to go home, and Jimmy did, but I think it just has gone to her head. And I don't think, if last week wasn't the piece of humble pie that she needed, I don't think it's gonna end up happening where she recognizes the damage that she's done, because she's continuing to lie to people who she should be working with, and continually getting caught. Um, telling every people that she was gonna vote Morgan out. It's just very, very bad gameplay, and it's disappointing because
Yeah.
it seemed like Mickey had a lot of promise up until she took Riley's HOH. And I think just a lot of people were disappointed in that, because I think Mickey had potential, but got blinded by her own ego.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, as I mentioned before, like for the first few weeks, Mickey really was just like she was in pole position in the game. She was strategic. She pushed for what she wanted, but not too hard. She was socially very good. Everybody liked her. And then, she got this power, and all of a sudden, like, it's not that she seems entitled. She became entitled. She has been entitled since she got HOH. I mean, it's not a vibe. It's very much her actions are leading to her consequences. And to me, it's also interesting because, like, okay, what set this off? I think it really was she, for whatever reason, thought that getting rid of Jimmy was the best move for her. Everybody told her, I'm not so sure about that. She said, I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway. And then she successfully got him to go home. And I think since then, it's either been two things. It's either the likelier option is probably she's been trying to justify it to herself, and it's kind of gone into this whole fortress of solitude of I'm right and you're wrong, that's led to some of the entitlement. Or because of the fact that Jimmy actually went home and people voted for her to do it, and nobody else is going to do it, she's like, I just pulled off the biggest move, and nobody is going after me. And I'm a great player because I got what I wanted, even if it wasn't good for anybody else's game or something like that. So in
Right.
either case, completely wrong. But I mean, that's the only like scenarios I could envision and on why she's become just a completely different person, it feels like.
Yeah, yeah, I think, you just get that little taste of power, and it just kinda goes to your head, And I think Mickey truly felt after getting Jimmy out that she had sewn up the game. Like
Mhm.
I think that's honestly what she thought. Um, I think she figured that she had the numbers. She was in a perfect position in the middle between two competing sides that would never target her. She felt like, and then she just overplayed her hand. Uh, you know, and then yeah, like it, not to mention all the jury talk, like
Oh my
Rachel will be
god.
perfect on the jury and things like that, which is so disrespectful to say to anyone, let alone a returning legend like Rachel. Like
Mhm.
you just I think that just goes into also just Mickey's lack of game knowledge.
Yeah.
Um Probably watched the show and was familiar with the different mechanics of the game, but in terms of exactly how to play it from a social standpoint, everyone's watching clips on YouTube or just the episodes in their 60-minute chunks and not really understanding all the different dynamics that take place to make sure that you have an opportunity to win the game. And I think Mickey just got too comfortable. And when you get comfortable, you kind of revert to habits that you may have. And it just seemed in this particular instance, a lot of it had to do with, controlling other people,
Yeah.
um, kind of a sense of entitlement, a feeling of superiority over other people. And, once everyone was able to kind of piece together, everything that Mickey was doing, her game crumbled. And I really don't think it's ever going to come back. Like, I mean, at this point, as far as I'm concerned, Mickey's a goat that you should probably want to try and drag
I
to the
know.
end.
Well, that's interesting because I like that point that you just brought up of her being a goat because actually, despite her being on the block and her being the primary target, last week when I had Alec on, I was talking about like, I could still see Mickey doing well in this game. I could see her coming back from this and like changing her approach. And in a house with so many people who are weak-willed, the one thing you can't say about Mickey is that she bends to other people. And honestly, in this house, that's been a good thing. However, I've changed my tune this week, and I now don't think so. I don't think so highly of her. Not like I really thought that highly of her to begin with, but I mean, she's back on the block this week, and she's doing the same exact thing. She's doubling down on her own. She put herself in this position and says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, it's all of your fault. I didn't do anything wrong." Um, but the reason why I was still high on her was like, okay, but if she gets to the end, I think people would respect her more than somebody like, I don't know, a Kelley or uh, maybe even an Ava at this point. Probably not. But I felt like people like would still respect her. I don't think that's true anymore. I think everyone's just like she is just mean. I think that's where people are at now. So yeah.
I believe that Mickey has the worst chances to win this game. I think Kelley would win in a jury vote over Mickey.
Probably
That
now,
is
yeah.
where we've gotten at this point. I think Kelley would get more votes than Mickey. It would probably be tough. Like there have to be a certain combination of people on the jury. Um, Even at this point, like Kelley versus Mickey. I think she gets Lauren's vote. I think she gets Keanu's vote. I think she gets Vince's vote. I think she gets Catherine's vote. That's 4 votes right there
Yeah.
on a 7-person jury. That's the game. So it's and then that doesn't even take into account that Ava might vote for Kelley over Mickey at this point.
Mhm.
Rachel might vote for Kelley over Mickey at this point, and that these are votes that Mickey should have had locked in,
Well, Mickey
based
Mickey
on
was saying that she had these votes locked in too. It wasn't even that she
yeah,
thought it.
it's
She said to other people that Rachel will vote
yeah,
for me if I vote her out at jury, where she should go home because she doesn't deserve to go any further. It's
yeah,
crazy.
right. Oh, jeez, yeah, and then now, like, and everyone knows that she's been saying these things, so it's hard to like, you already know that when Rachel wins HOH, like, you have the ammunition to say that this is what Mickey's been saying about you.
Mhm.
What is Mickey saying to Rachel, like, in order to like trying to align with Rachel? Like, why is Mickey taking it so like everyone knows that Mickey was targeting Rachel, so all of a sudden Rachel's the one who's uh you know manipulative and conniving
Yeah.
now that she clocked to you what you were doing. Like it's and everyone once that happened, everyone could saw right through it, and that's the thing. It's just everyone was like, actually, even it took Ashley a little bit, granted,
A long time.
but yeah, but to the point where I think Mickey's game is just toast,
Yeah.
and uh like Mickey can go home now. There's people who probably need to get rid of Mickey because Mickey won't vote for them, and so that makes sense. I get why Mickey's the target. Um, but once jury, if Mickey somehow makes it to jury, I would not spend a second trying to target Mickey. I would
Yeah.
I would drag Mickey as far as I could to the end if by any means necessary.
Yeah, because I mean, like, she, I don't envision her doing any better. I mean, what you said about her, like, saying to Rachel, like, how could you after targeting her? That's basically the exact same thing that she's been doing to Vince this week. Is she's been
Exactly.
like, is she's been like, I had your back. I stuck my neck out for you. How could you? And Vince is different from Rachel. Rachel's like, haha, yeah, and Vince is like, I'm so sorry. So two different sides of the same coin, I guess. But
Yeah.
either way,
But
what
even still,
Mickey's
like
doing,
Vince knows
yeah,
that it's not true. Vince
yeah,
knows that it's not true. So
yeah. All right, well, that's kind of all I have to say about Mickey. I do think that she's probably going to go home this week, unless she wins the blockbuster again. But we'll see. I wouldn't bank on that.
I don't know. We'll see if someone makes a mistake and throws it to her again.
That's true. That could always happen. Speaking of that specific thing, let's go down from here and let's talk about Keanu. Um,
Uh,
what do we think
Keanu,
about
Keanu,
Keanu?
Keanu, Keanu. Um, honestly, like one of the top contenders, I think, for America's favorite player. I really believe that. I think
Yeah.
Keanu's one of the more polarizing people I've seen in the Big Brother house for good and bad reasons. For the reasons his terrible, terrible reads, um, terrible decision making. But he's got like this energy that you kind of like want to root for him because
Hmm.
I think he's trying. Like that he's trying. You can tell that this means a lot to him. You can tell that he wants it bad, and you tell that he wants to win, and I think he wants to be a good player. He's just so bad at it that it's kind of unfortunate. So it's a little bit more endearing, honestly, as opposed to someone who like Kelley, who absolutely has no idea what she's doing. So I'm rooting for Keanu. I feel bad that he feels like he needs to target Rachel now. Um, I think it's just just was had the blinders on for Rylie, which, so does Catherine. So it's not like it's not like all Keanu's fault, even though people were trying to tell Keanu the truth. He just
Hmm.
didn't want to listen, which is another issue with Keanu. Um, but he's someone that I want to at the very least make jury. I'm hoping Keanu gets an opportunity to make it that far. I think he's been a delightful character, someone who I could definitely see come back in a future
Yeah,
season.
totally.
He's good on fun to watch on feeds, good for the episodes. So I think he's A plus casting as far as I'm concerned from Keanu.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to go that far. I do want to talk about something you mentioned, which is America's favorite player, because it got me thinking, like, who would actually be America's favorite player at this point? Let's look at the cast and let's figure it out. Rachel is not on this graphic, but
Hmm.
she's there in spirit. I don't know. I legitimately don't know. Ava?
Um, Yeah, so the episodes are really kind of what drives the America's favorite player votes because the majority of Big Brother watchers are casual fans who only watch the episodes.
Hmm.
So you kind of have to go by what the episodes are telling us. That Rachel is a familiar name, so she's automatically going to be someone who gets thrust into that top range. I think because of the situations involving Keanu being near the bottom, winning competitions, winning vetoes. I can definitely see
Yeah,
Keanu being up there,
it's
and
kind of
his
the
presence on the
Cameron.
episodes
It's a
is
Cameron
up there as well.
BB25 sort of like
Yeah,
angle.
yeah. Um, I think at this point I would have said Ava. I think Ava was definitely someone who I considered. I do think casual fans probably like Ava a lot.
Hmm.
However, I think Vince is probably someone who I think a lot of people are going to consider as like the face of the season. Um, Even through the episodes, he's kind of at the forefront of every move and every decision that gets made in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Um, and because he's so involved in what's happening in the game, and we have to hear from him basically in every episode at some point, I could definitely see him. So if I were to make a top three right now, I would say Rachel, Keanu, Vince. Ava's probably close fourth. Rylie is probably up there as well, just based on the way that the showmance was portrayed.
Hmm.
People may feel a certain type of way about the way that he was blindsided. Um, I don't think. I think because he went out pre-jury, I think people will. He probably won't get the votes. I don't think he had the kind of same impact that Tucker had. Um,
No, no,
which
not
won
at
Tucker
all.
America's favorite player. So I don't think he would make the cut. But between those four that I mentioned, Ava, um, Keanu, Vince, Rachel. I the only other person that I probably wouldn't be surprised if they make the top three would be Will. Will's
Yeah,
probably
I was thinking Will.
someone who could make that cut as well. But it kind of depends on what happens throughout the rest of the season. But those would be my front runners.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think what you said about Keanu is it makes a lot of sense. He is the underdog of the season, one way or another, and he does have this like innate likability about him, despite all his faults. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it's like watching a toddler. It's like it just feels like they don't know any better. They're trying to be an adult,
Yeah,
but they can't. They don't fit in the shoes, and they can't walk around without
exactly.
falling. And you know Keanu was one of the players that I had the highest hopes for going in. I thought that he would be smart. I thought that he'd be good at competitions. I thought that people would like him. He's been one of those things so far. He's been pretty good at competitions, but he's still here. And you know what? Everybody else has to deal with that. And the funny thing about Keanu is sort of like Vince, who we'll get to too. He's so flip floppy and so weird and promises things that I don't see people necessarily targeting him like and actually getting rid of him soon because I think everybody thinks that they'll have some amount of chance to work with him, or at least all the people with some amount of influence in the house. I believe Rachel will continue to try to work with him. I believe Vince will continue to try to work with him. I believe Kelley will continue to try to work with him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But of course, none of them will actually be able to because he'll just, you know, make his decisions on a whim and have no thoughts circulating throughout his brain, which is exciting, and I enjoy that. So yeah,
Yep. Yep, definitely. He will find a way to put himself in the worst possible position every single time. But he's resilient enough to find his ways out of it. And I do think, to some degree, I think there are people who not necessarily feel like they can use Keanu. I don't think
hmm
I would say that, but like there's a reason why Vince didn't put Keanu up this week. There's a
exactly.
reason why Rachel didn't put Keanu up last week. There is an aspect of Keanu, and I think a lot of it really began um the week where Vince himself and Zach were on the block and he got that butler punishment.
Yeah.
I think that showed a side of him that really endeared him to his fellow housemates to some degree, to the point where, yeah, he's messy. Yeah, we can't really trust him, but like he seems like a good guy. And I think that's kind of really at the end of the day what he needed when he was kind of a house pariah and people didn't talk to him and people didn't want to work with him. I think that really changed things. It kind of really opened him up to the rest of his housemates. So I do think he has a chance to make it far in the game at this point, which is not something I would have said at week one.
Yeah.
But given those circumstances, the people who he's chosen to try and work with, I think there are enough people who are like, I have bigger fish to fry than Keanu, who the worst thing possible that he could do is win a veto.
hmm
In terms of like what his strategic game is, I don't think anyone's really threatened by it because anyone who he
It's
targets, people are just going to be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
yeah.
So do I think Keanu can win the game? Uh, Unlikely, given what he seems to want to do in the game.
I
I
could
think
see it though.
I can see it if he's sitting next to Mickey or Kelley, maybe even a Lauren. But
Maybe a Rachel.
I think I don't see it. I think people would vote Rachel over Keanu, but that would be such a wild situation. Rachel wins the final three HOH, takes Keanu, and then they vote Keanu to win. That would be wild. Something that can only happen if Mickey's on the jury, which is why
Yeah.
Rachel needs to make sure Mickey goes home this week.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, I think Keanu is I don't know. I just think he's destined to stay in the game for a long time. I think having that sort of likability is so rare on this cast where people like actually legitimately like you. Like Will has that, and maybe Vince has that, and I think that's it. Like even Lauren doesn't have that anymore. So
Not
I
anymore, no.
I only think like Keanu really this entire season, he has inexplicably been falling upwards. And that's not to say that I think that he's even in a good spot right now necessarily, but I mean like he's certainly not in the worst spot. He's kind of
Yeah,
in the
that's the
middle.
thing. That's the
He
thing. It's not even that he's in the worst spot. He's not even playing the worst game. And that
not even
is
close at this
something.
point, honestly. Like he has
Yeah.
found himself in a position where he can go with multiple sides that want to work with him, and you cannot say that
Mhm.
about most of the people in this house right now. You can't say that about Kelley. You can't say that about Morgan. You can't say that about Catherine to some extent. You can't even say
You
that
can't even
about
say it
Ava.
about Rachel.
Can't
You
say
can't
that
say it
about
about
Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. When Keanu wins, I won't say necessarily that I called it, but I'll say that it was something that I saw coming. Um, Anyways, that's Keanu. Let's move on to. Oops, sorry, wrong thing. Let's move on to Catherine. Her boyfriend's gone. So
Mhm.
what's gonna happen with Catherine, and what do we think about Catherine?
Catherine, I would consider the enigma of the season. We don't really know much about Catherine, the person, outside of her relationship with Rylie, which is unfortunate. The it's been talked to death, Riley's behavior in the house. He's gone. We don't have to worry about him anymore. Catherine is now free to play the game as she sees fit to work with the people that she wants to work with. And I actually do think Catherine has a decent mind for the game. And I think she has a good idea of what needs to be done. It's just unfortunate that the way that everything played out, that she kind of put herself in a she's kind of starting from behind,
Yeah,
which kind of puts her in an unfortunate position. Now she's been able to work it to the point where she's out on the block this week, which is great. And I don't really think that she's a target unless she's the replacement nomination. No, but even then, I don't know if people are going to want to vote Catherine out. I think now that Catherine doesn't have the anchor of Rylie in the game, I think people will finally start to look at Catherine as an individual, someone who is open to working with them. And I think Catherine, if can definitely make some moves. Definitely going to need some competition wins though to take some power and make some moves, get some people out that she's not going to be able to work with. I think she benefits from having people like Keanu, like Kelley in the game. I think she benefits to having someone like Vince, someone who is you know, someone who other people might target. And I think she's also benefits from having someone like Rachel. Catherine needs to be targeting people that aren't getting talked about.
yeah,
Catherine needs to target people like Ashley, people like Will, people like Ava. Those are the people that Catherine needs to be trying to get out of the house.
mhm,
Um, so that because these are numbers for other people, not for her. She needs to become one of these numbers. And because she's basically playing catch up. She's gonna have to play speed, Big Brother celebrity at this point, because I feel like Catherine's game just started Thursday.
yeah. I mean, That's very true. I mean, basically, I think that people perceived her in the house as being Rylie too. Sort of like how at the
Mm,
beginning of the season, people perceived Amy as being Rachel too. Or even, week one, where people saw the Bro Collective and saw, Zay 1, Zay 2, and Zay 3, or Zach 1, Zach 2, and Zach 3. So,
mm.
yeah, I do think Catherine's probably overall in a better spot now that Riley's gone in a weird sort of way. Um, but I also think that she's basically started from square one because Rylie had like connections. People liked Rylie. People wanted to work with Rylie. Nobody really wanted to work with Catherine. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's you're right. She will definitely need some competition wins for sure. But I also think that getting away from the very obvious number one you have will make people more willing to actually want to work with you on a deeper level rather than I'll bring you to Final Five and then cut you or whatever was the most that Catherine was getting beforehand when Rylie was in the game.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of impact that targeting a showmance early on can do. Um, I know that a lot of people may not necessarily be big fans of Big Brother 15,
Mhm.
but Gina Marie made it to final two, was in a showmance, flirtmance, if you will, in week one, and they took out her flirtmance
Mhm.
early, and then Gina Marie was just a number that everyone tried to use and pick up at that point for the rest of the game. And I think that that is sound strategy. That's what you should be doing with once you break up pairs. The idea is you don't break up the pair and then just go after the pair because
Yeah,
then who's left to target? They're gonna target you at some point. Then you just the pair is not loyal to anyone else. That so they have to if they want to move forward in the game, they're going to need allies, and why
yeah,
not that be you? So, I think Catherine's in a great spot. I think the thing that Catherine I think needs to do though, right, just this week is just get the target off. You just don't be the renom. Just do everything you can to make sure the veto doesn't get used so that you are in that position, or at the very least, if the veto does get used, that they look at someone else, look at someone, maybe put someone up there that can, win the blockbuster, okay, fine, take down, if Ava wins, okay, fine, put up Keanu, and that
yeah,
way, um, Kelly or Keanu can beat Mickey, and we can just vote out Mickey. Like Catherine just needs to just put all eyes on Mickey right now, so people aren't thinking about Catherine. And I think Catherine's smart enough to do that. I think Catherine's doing a good job right now, trying to lay low, not really exposing. Yes, she can say that she's upset with Vince, and that's fine, but just not really exposing what she wants to do too much
yeah.
right now. And I think as long as Catherine doesn't get nominated this week, I think Catherine could be in a good spot. But Catherine's still playing with fire. I think if Catherine ends up on the block, Catherine might go home this week.
I no, I do like what you said, and it actually does make me respect Catherine's game, what it is so far now that Riley's gone, even more because there is every reason for her to be on the block this week. Like she
Exactly.
directly told Vince, like, "Hey," and she basically said, "Hey, I'm coming after you."
Mm,
And I think that was a bad decision, and I don't think she should have done that. But since then, I think that she's done a good job at kind of just letting everybody else fumble the ball harder than she has. Sort of falling
exactly.
upward a little like Keanu. That being said, I really do think it just takes one person nominating Catherine for people to be like, okay, should we just get rid of her now? Which is pretty much what people have been thinking about her since going back all the way to like week two. Things have been
Hmm.
fluctuating, obviously, with people liking Rylie, but I still don't think anybody like really needs Catherine for their game. Like I don't think it's almost like
Right.
what people should be thinking about Vince is what they're thinking about Catherine, which is yeah, she could be a number for us, but like even Lauren's not like, yeah, me and Catherine, or I really need her in this game to do well. Like kind of like Kelley, she's just there at the moment.
Uh, don't get me started on Lauren.
Well, we'll get there eventually, but for now, let's talk about Morgan. What do we think about Morgan? How's she doing?
Another one of those polarizing players. I think preseason, a lot of winner picks there with Morgan's background as a gamer. someone who we thought knew the show better um, than what we had anticipated. And what we've come to find out that Morgan is a giant, big old ball of anxiety and makes herself anxious, which makes us anxious. Um, and she does not hide it well. And I kind of started picking up on these things week one,
Yeah.
um, where just her interactions with people like Jimmy and Zach, in terms of not feeling like she was able to get her point across. Which the thing with any of these social strategy games that we like to watch, Survivor, Big Brother, is like your plan is not always going to be the plan,
No.
and you have to be okay with that. And Morgan was not okay with her plan not being the plan. The week one, so much so that she pushed her plan went through. Zay did go home, and she got what she wanted. But because of that, it impacted so much of her
Yeah.
game just by week one.
I mean,
Jimmy was turned.
frankly,
Yeah, go ahead.
just to speak on that really quick. Frankly, the every plan that doesn't go exactly your way is not the worst thing. But you just said like that should be the theme of the season because so many people don't realize that they can be in a better position even if something doesn't go exactly the right way. That's the reason why Vince is in power right now is because he really doesn't care if his plans go through. He pushes on nothing. Meanwhile, like everybody else is like, I have to have these exact people on the block. If you put Ava up instead of Catherine, I'm gonna go berserk or something like that, even if they're both pawns. You know, that should be the theme of the season. Anyways,
Yeah, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But like, yeah, just like I was saying, Morgan's interactions and how she handled her conversation with Jimmy led to Jimmy doing what he did during his HOH, which in turn led Morgan to turn against Jimmy and want to get Jimmy voted out when she had no business doing that. Um,
yeah.
the obsession with Zach and that whole thing, taking the toothbrush out of the garbage and
Oh my
the
god.
bracelet. Um,
Yeah.
the I Morgan is a very emotional player, and just does not hide it. Um, I I hope Morgan never tries to take up poker, because she has a horrible poker face. Um, but I think she's active, and I think that's the best thing that I can say for her. She's not
Yeah.
just letting people play around her. She's actively communicating with people, trying to make things happen. And I think there's a lot that can be done with that. I don't think her reads are terrible. I think she knows who she needs to work with. I just think she doesn't necessarily know exactly how to go about it. I think she had blinders on for Zach and Vince to some degree. I think we were maybe misled a little bit in terms of the game relationship that those guys had with Morgan as opposed to the personal one. I think we just kind
Yeah.
of, based on what we were seeing, that those guys were more loyal to Lauren, um, based on the way that they kind of communicated. But I think on a game level, they actually did want Morgan working with them, and they did
Yeah.
want to work with Morgan too, which was evident by Zach confessing to Morgan about his power, Vince not voting with Lauren to vote Morgan out. Like it's proof, it's in the pudding that they did value Morgan. So I think Morgan was right to do the things she did to try and protect those guys. At the end of the day, and I think her real mistake was just doing everything that Mickey said early
Yeah.
on, which that Mickey then tried to use against her. But now she's caught on to that. I think she's doing everything she needs to do to try and getting herself into a position where she could win the game. If she makes it to a final six that includes everyone that's in the judges and Ava,
Hmm.
Morgan is probably one of the more viable comp threats in that setting. I say that based
Well,
on paper. I say that on paper. Morgan should be one of the more viable comp threats.
I'm saying no.
Although,
It's not happening.
although she would have, I think in the judges, I think it's just her and Will who have never won a comp yet. At this point, um, which is a little staggering. Um, I think Morgan obviously should be better, but if the end game comps are more physical things, I think Morgan has an opportunity to still do well. Again, it's all on paper. I don't think Morgan has a great chance to win the game.
Yeah.
But because she's active, a lot of the things that are going to happen over the course of the season are going to have Morgan's fingerprints on it. So I
Yeah.
think that's a lot, and that says a lot because there are people like Mickey can't say that. Like nothing in the game right now is happening because of Mickey's influence. Morgan is having influence over what's happening in the game right now.
Yeah. Sorry, I just killed a bug. Um, anyways,
You're good.
thank you. No, Morgan is such a frustrating player to me, and to some extent. And I've said this a few times this season, but like there are some players that I think have, a certain floor to them that's higher than other people, and other people have a ceiling in terms of perception. Like to me, Ava, at least in the early going, was somebody who had a very low perception of herself and a very low seemingly floor, and people thought that she was way at the bottom of the floor, but she was playing above that. She was playing above how people perceived her. While Morgan has always been a player that has had a very high floor, a very high like view of how people perceive her, because she's this, she's this pretty, strong,
I'm a
socially
model.
active model, blah 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 blah. She has all these
Mhm.
characteristics that are like, oh, that person's good at things. Um, but I think that unlike Ava, at least in the early game, she's playing below how people perceive her. And I think that's still true to some extent. Um, Frankly, I think that Morgan could be a viable GOAT if you wanted her to be. Like if Vince dragged Morgan to the end, he wins 100 times out of 100, especially right now. Now she could always get better and she could start winning competitions, but unlike somebody like Keanu, who is so set in his ways and so confident about his own delusions that it's like, if he makes the end, I could see him winning against a Kelley. Morgan, I think, is the opposite. I think even if she is perceived as being a winner threat, if she's at the end, she's just going to be apologizing for her actions and she's going to be remorseful instead of saying, I did the best move for my game. She'll be like, especially if someone like Mickey's there, she'll be like, I'm sorry for cutting you, Mickey. I'm really sorry. But I just thought it was best for my time. I thought it was best for my game at the moment, and like, I want you to vote for me, but I understand if you don't. Like, I can understand her doing that sort of thing. So
Yeah, I definitely get that vibe too, which is why I don't think she has a great chance to win. The only problem is that I think Morgan is one of the more higher variance
yeah,
players still in the game,
yeah,
because all of those things are true, but if she decided to look at it just a little bit differently, the opportunities for her to add to her resume and completely turn that around and gain win equity, they're there.
yeah,
She cuts Mickey. She cuts Vince. She is why Rachel leaves. Like if these moves are available to her. I just don't know if she's got the game acumen to make those moves. Which is the thing. She's still focused on trying to get Lauren out right now, which
yeah,
should be the least of Morgan's worries currently. And I think that's kind of where that problem is. Like Morgan needs to be trying to get people out like Vince, like Keanu. Not Vince right now because Vince values Morgan, but like right now, people like Keanu, people like Rachel. She needs to be the person that Will and Ashley are locked in with. She needs to be the person that Catherine and Lauren feel good about. But instead, she's going in for people who are at the bottom of the totem pole on the other side, which is not what she should be doing. She should be trying to set herself up for the perfect end game, and I
yeah,
don't think she knows what that is.
yeah,
And I think I think that's what's going to end up being her downfall, which will then lead to her saying things like apologizing for the moves that she makes instead of owning them.
yeah. A word that's been put around a lot by you and also myself about Morgan is the word potential, 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 potential. And I'll give you a comp. She's kind of like the Justin Herbert of Big Brother, where she's good at things, I think, but there's always just something holding her back. It feels like she should have a playoff win by now. She doesn't have a comp win yet. And it's like, if only she had the right allies and her allies are working with her, then she would really flourish. But it's always her allies' fault. Just she doesn't have enough around her, and it's like, okay, at some point she's just not all that she's hyped up to be. So
we take this break from your Big Brother coverage to give you some LA Chargers comparisons. For those who don't know, Justin Herbert, LA Chargers quarterback, very highly touted first round draft pick, has a lot of physical talent, but unfortunately that has not uh, uh, brought his team a lot of deep playoff runs and meaningful wins,
Hmm.
uh, which kind of goes into the fact that, Justin Herbert has all this potential. Like Morgan, probably should be better, have performing better than what they are. But unfortunately, this is the current reality that we are in. And yeah, that's a great comp. I think
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that Morgan could make the necessary decisions to turn things around. I just think, unlike Justin Herbert, I have a little bit more faith in the current structure around the Los Angeles Chargers that will allow Justin Herbert to maybe take that step forward
Well,
in
okay.
the Big Brother
Well,
house. Uh, in the Big Brother house, I don't think Morgan has that support. I think everyone views Morgan as just a number right now. I don't think anyone really is looking at Morgan as a valuable ally.
no.
If someone on the other side wins power, the first person that the judges are going to be like is, uh, "Oh, you should target Morgan."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think everyone would be fine with that. So
Yeah.
that's not a good spot to be in.
Not a good spot at all. Well, with that, let's move on. Go back around the graphic. Actually, let's talk about Rachel since she's not on this graphic. Um, what
Sure.
do we think about Rachel?
Rachel Riley, queen, goddess, legend. Put the crown on her name. A lot of people critiqued the way that she handled her HOH, myself included. I thought she could have, at the very least, smooth things a little bit over with Catherine and Rylie. I think all she really needs to do is go to Rylie and say, "Hey, I might need to put up a replacement nom." And Lauren's not really being clear with me on what she's going to do with the veto. I
Hmm.
told her not. I keep telling her not to use it. But if she ends up using it, I'm going to have to make a replacement nominee. I really want Mickey out. Can I put you up? you know, because I believe that you can beat Mickey in the block. But like something like that, you get
Yeah.
a chance to compete, speak to Riley's ego. I need a man to step up and do something for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all of that was there. Then and that would have worked on Rylie to
Of
smooth that
course.
over. And then if you want to vote Rylie out, you can. Um, so that's probably the only real mistake that I think Rachel did. Getting Riley out, I think, was huge. I think she just could have saved face a little bit with the people on the other side a little bit better. But this is Rachel Riley we're talking about, and she doesn't do that.
Yeah.
She is like, I roll with my people, and that's what I do. Um, so and that's what Rachel's doing. She's rolling with her people. Wants it to be Keanu. I think the Keanu Rachel dynamic is my favorite thing to track and watch in the house. Their conversations are so funny to me. Um, I think uh, I think they're just I think the two peas that should be in a pod, but just are refusing not to
Yeah.
be. I think they would be great allies, honestly. Like if they could get on the same page. But Keanu just won't allow that to happen. Um, Rachel's the best game player in the house. Has the best sense of what's going on in the game. Uh, but I think because of that, she has the biggest target on her back. I think it's going to be very difficult for her to make it to the end. I think she's desperate to get some of these other uh, very capable, competitive women out of the house. Catherine, Lauren, she needs them gone, and
Yeah.
quick, fast, and in a hurry. Um, she needs Vince gone because Vince will inevitably target her. Um, and I just don't know who's going to do that for her if she doesn't do it herself. And because I don't think anyone's looking to really take those kinds of shots right now. So it's going to be tough sledding. It always was going to be for a returning player,
Hmm.
especially for someone like Rachel. But I mean, she's great television. We should be grateful that she's back on in the Big Brother house and that she put herself in this position to be gone from her family. Just want to say thank you, Rylie, for being the worst human being on the planet
Thank you.
and being an
Thank you.
idiot.
Hmm.
That way, Rachel could have a successful HOH, but she's still got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work.
It's gonna be tough sledding, but I think she's capable.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna bet against Rachel Riley. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, my thoughts on the HOH are it was what the game needed. You know what I mean? It needed a shakeup. It needed something to happen to put the people in power on edge, and I definitely think it put all the people who were nominated on edge. Put Vince on edge. Certainly put Mickey on edge. Put Riley enough on edge that he actually got booted. Thank God. And got who's the other person on the block? I can't even remember. Was
It was Mickey, Morgan, Riley.
Right, Morgan. And Morgan
But
has
yep.
certainly been on edge too.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I think it accomplished everything that you'd want. I would say that the issues that people have with their HOH were issues that already existed, which is basically that people don't want to work with Rachel Riley enough to make me feel like she has that long of a leash in this game. I know that you have faith in her. Theoretically, I should also have faith in her because I do think that she's like easily the best strategic person left in the game. But I think one of the things that Mickey has done to show that at some point in this game she did have influence is I think she was able to convince everybody that Rachel is not somebody you want to work with and not somebody who you want to take further in the game. Even though those two things should kind of contradict each other because, if nobody wants to work with her, then she'd be good to take to the end. But I do think that the moment that Rachel gets nominated, if she does not win the blockbuster or the veto, I think it might be over for her. And I've been saying that for a while, and she hasn't been nominated yet, which goes to all the credit to Rachel. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I think what Rachel needs to do is I think she needs to present herself as a shield to certain people in the game. Someone who you can take out later.
Mhm.
And I think that's where she can put herself in the best position. I think she's already got at least two people, maybe three in that camp. I think Ava's got her back. I think Will
Mhm.
and Ashley too. She gets Morgan. That's five, or that's five people that I think Ava or that Rachel can realistically work with deep into the game. And I think that's really the perfect combination of people for her. It completely gives her better chances of winning competitions near the end game. I just think that to get to that point is going to be such a narrow, rocky road.
Yeah.
Um, I I think she is desperate for one of her allies to win an HOH, um, like soon, um, and to really make a move against that other side. Um, like I don't think if Will were to ever win an HOH, I think that would be the greatest thing to ever happen to Rachel, because
Yeah.
Will would target the people that Rachel needs to be targeted. Will would put up Catherine. Will would put up Lauren. Will would probably make Lauren his primary target.
Mhm.
And like that's the kind of thing that I think needs to happen. Morgan would love that. I think Morgan and Morgan HOH would be good for Rachel as long as Vince is not super involved in what's going on.
Yeah.
But because I know Morgan wants to get Lauren out bad. So like these are the kind of things that Rachel needs to happen. So Rachel's really dependent on comp wins. I think as far as
As
like her social
always.
game, like it's kind of where it is. It is where it is at this point. The people who are going to work with her are there. She knows who they are. She knows who she needs to be spending time with and who she doesn't. There are some people who are just lost causes. Kelley, like Rachel
Mhm.
should not speak with Kelley for the rest of the game, as far as I'm concerned. Like that is just her time being wasted at this point. Um, so I think Rachel has an opportunity. I believe that Rylie went home, so like it
Yeah.
wouldn't absolutely should not have happened. So
Yeah.
all the credit to Rachel on that. Mickey's trying to take credit for that. Um,
Of course she
which
is.
is so wild to me. But anyways, um, full credit. I think Rachel has loads of opportunities to still make it far in this game. She just will definitely need certain people to win. Similar to Catherine, if she ends up on the block, I think she goes home. So
I mean, I guess the question that we have to ask ourselves is what is Rachel's ceiling in this game? Like, is she actually somebody who we think could win? I know that your answer is probably yes if she sits next to the right
Yeah.
person. I'm
Mhm.
not sure. I'm really not sure that people, especially if Mickey can somehow survive this week and she ends up on jury, I don't necessarily know that Rachel wins against realistic people that she would be sitting next to. I don't think it's realistic to say that she would be sitting next to Kelley at the end. I don't think that's going to happen. Um, her sitting next to Keanu, I already mentioned. I think Keanu would have a better shot than he should, frankly. Um, and other people next to Ava, I think Ava wins. Next to Will, I think everybody likes Will. I think he would have a great story. I think Will would probably win. And really, that's probably all the realistic options of who she would sit next to at the end, unless you think that she could sit
Uh,
next to Catherine. But
I don't think
Ashley,
Catherine's a good person to sit next to. Ashley is probably the other person that I would
yeah,
say that Rachel has a realistic shot of winning against. Um, I think in Rachel's perfect world, she ends the game sitting next to either Ashley or Keanu, and I think, but the difference is in terms of like the combination that you need to sit at the end with to give you a chance to win. I think the only two people who know what that combination is are Rachel and Vince. And I think
yeah,
the only reason why Vince knows it is because Vince can sit next to almost anyone at the end and win. Um, and I think Rachel knows that it's a lot. The people that she can sit next to and win is a lot smaller. I think she also thinks she can beat Ava, but that's a mistake. So I think like out of Rachel's like end game, I think she has it mostly right in terms of what she wants it to be. I just think she believes that she can beat Ava, and she would be wrong.
yeah.
Um so that's probably the only where that lies.
Yeah, we'll see. For now,
Yeah.
let's move on to the next person. Flipping around back on the graphic, we have the aforementioned Ashley. What do we think about Ashley?
Ashley, another one of my favorite people on this cast. My number one overall draft pick in my Big Brother fantasy draft. I was super high on Ashley. Just given her knowledge, the background, knowing Hannah Chata from Big Brother 23, like you would
Mhm.
think that you would have some things. And what does she do right out of the gate? She showers forever in the HOH room, puts a target on her back when anyone is looking for any reason. Um,
Yeah, frankly, I don't think she's gotten that target off her back really this entire game. I think it
I,
subsided, but
I,
I
th-
think
everyone I think just looks at Ashley similar to, um, like just a number. Doesn't really
yeah,
have agency. The best thing that she ever did for herself was get herself win the first veto to get herself off the block. Otherwise, she would have went home.
hmm
Um, I think though, actually has good reads. Um, it's her social game that is really, you know, killing Ashley right now. Um, I think that's really all it takes. But the woman is so entertaining.
yeah,
Like
she's
she
my
just
favorite. I think.
yeah, she just says what she says how it is, speaks her mind, speaks her truth, even when she's not allowed to. One of my favorite moments in Big Brother history, trying to change her vote. Um, only Ashley, right?
Mhm.
Like that's all I can say. Um, Gameplay wise, she's not great. She's doesn't really have any control over what's happening in the house. She's just kind of uh surviving currently, and that's not really a great place to be. No respect currently in the game. Do I think she has a chance to win?
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
yeah,
Uh, can I see a scenario where she sits next to the end? I don't know because I can't really picture a scenario where she gets to the end.
hmm
Um, that's why it's hard for me to like pick it. Do I think people would vote for her over Kelley? Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
I'd have to really think about it. Can she beat Mickey? Probably. Can she beat Morgan? Probably. Um,
Yeah, that's more of a question mark. I really don't understand. I don't know how people really perceive Ashley, like actually. I know people don't necessarily like her, but I don't know if they perceive her as being anything more than annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
Is
that's
that
it. I think people just I think Ashley to other people Ashley's just a body in the house.
Mhm.
That is there working with Rachel.
Yeah,
Um, that was working with Mickey. And I don't think anyone has any respect for Ashley's gameplay. But there are a lot of people who have that moniker where that people like just don't respect the gameplay. I think it just really then depends on the likability, which is why I think Ashley's social game is
yeah,
such a hindrance to her because her Big Brother gameplay is so like not really existent. Your social gameplay is what should kind of take you forward and your ability to influence your allies. Ashley does not influence her allies at all.
no,
And I think that's just where it is, and that's why she doesn't have the respect of her allies. She doesn't have the respect of the other side. Um, no one views Ashley as someone who has real win equity. But at the same time, no one's talking about taking Ashley to the end, and
yeah,
so um, I think Ashley's definitely in one of the worst spots, regardless of what happens. Because if she just rides out with her alliance, if she gets to the end, no one votes for her,
yeah.
and I think that's kind of where it is. Like, I think, you know, I think Mickey's the number one goat, but number two is probably Ashley.
Yeah, I'll tell you my comparison that I've been thinking of for a little while, but I was thinking, it might not fit that well, but whatever, I'll just say it. This one is reality TV. No NFL quarterbacks here. She reminds me a decent deal of Angelina from David versus Goliath, which should say
Mhm.
to you how much I enjoy watching her because Ashley
Yeah,
is like the lifeblood of the season to me right now. Um, she reminds me of her in the sense that she is outspoken about what she wants, has some game sense, but like doesn't use it, and is absolutely disastrous socially. But at the same time, I think by the end of the season, people will be endeared to her, but not enough for her to win.
Ashley will be such a great player on Big Brother All Stars 3. Like I would like I would legitimately believe that Ashley could win an All Star season.
Yeah,
Which is I realistically I think Angelina can win Survivor 50.
we'll see.
Um, this season Ashley cannot win. It is not possible for Ashley to win this season. But on a comeback, I totally think Ashley could 100% do it. See her mistakes socially, figure out exactly like what she can do, have the experience. It's just right now she's in it, and
Yeah,
it's too late. So but what an entertaining player. Another A+ casting as far as I'm concerned. Um, so
yeah,
I am not upset that I picked Ashley with my number one overall pick. Again, her walking into that room and trying to change her vote justified me picking her with my number one overall pick a
I'll
hundred times out of 100.
I'll say it
I
for
do it
about the
again.
fourth straight week, but every time I feel like it becomes more and more true week after week. Like a lot of these players need to go on the challenge. Ashley needs to go on the challenge. Morgan needs to go on the challenge. Zach needs to go on the challenge. Um, I don't know. Keanu needs to go on the challenge. Even
Oh
like
boy, yeah, Keanu's definitely challenge casting. He's the new Josh, I think.
he's
In
Josh,
terms
but like
of
in a good way.
challenge,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but
Um,
anyways, that's
so,
that's the thing
but
about
but
Ashley.
Josh had a rough start on the challenge, but is now excels on the challenge.
Yeah, but
And I think Keanu could have a similar.
he's still Josh Martinez though is the thing
Yeah,
though,
of
and it's like
course.
I don't really enjoy watching him. I've never enjoyed watching him, but
Mhm.
I guess I'm glad that there's a Big Brother player who's made their legacy on the challenge, even if I wish it was anybody else. So, uh, there you go.
There's Casey
Um,
Clark.
that okay, that's true. There is Casey.
Mhm.
I suppose of Big Brother guys, though. Honestly, there's not a great selection of Big Brother guys to choose from. I mean, it's him. It's Polly. It's Fessy. Yeah, it's kind of slim pickings for
Yeah,
people, guys
that's
who are
basically it.
likable. Um, But hey, Cedric's on this latest season, and he's been great. Even though he
Yep.
doesn't have nearly as many muscles, but he's cool. So yeah,
Oh, right, but I think he's more perfect for the challenge than I originally thought he would be when I found out he was on the cast.
yeah,
Which is kind of interesting. But uh we kind of look at the challenge and we just think like, you know, the bigger, stronger you are, the better you're going to be. The challenge is really an endurance game.
hmm
And the more that you can just hang around is really like what's going to get it done. Like, yeah, sure, you need to be strong for eliminations. So if he gets caught in the wrong elimination, gets the wrong opponent, then he could be in some trouble.
yeah.
But
There's a reason why one of the most successful challenge players of all time was Wes. Even though Wes, strong, I guess, but like wasn't nearly as strong. Is he understood that not only was it an endurance game, and it was just a matter of getting to the end and then doing your thing, but he also was always like one of the only people who's actually playing it like a social strategy game, because the challenge
Mhm.
intentionally puts people on there and is like drama, 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 challenge, 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 and just kind of tries to gloss over the entire social strategy aspect of it, which is what the game is about at the end of the day. Um,
Right.
and then so you get the slogs like the challenge 39, I think it was, when it's just Michelle and Jay running the entire game, even though they're not the strongest because they know how to play social strategy games and nobody else does. So yeah,
Hmm.
it'll be interesting. I mean, I've been watching this latest season of the challenge, and it's been a nice mix of absolute idiots and somewhat smart players who are under the radar at the moment. So yeah, that's all one big aside though. Let's move on after Ashley to talk about somebody who I do not think will be appearing on the challenge, and that is Kelley. What do we think about Kelley?
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. This is the worst casting. Sorry, second worst casting decision that Big Brother made this season. Kelley has no idea what she's doing in that house. I, you know, People who don't know the show, like I have an opportunity to learn as they go. There's been a lot of evidence to people like that. Um, People who have ended up going on to win the game, have like picked up the show and picked up the gameplay as they've gone on, very successfully in certain regard. Someone who I think of in that light is like Monty, for example,
Yeah,
from Big Brother 24. Um, did not know the show, learned as he went, aligned himself with people who kind of really taught him, different ways to play the game, ended up going to the end with a chance to win. So like, Cody was someone who was like that. Originally, Big Brother 16 didn't know the game that well, picked it up as he went along, just made the wrong decision before at final three. So it's these are the kind of people that you think, when they don't know the show, can evolve and develop. Kelley, not that person, has no idea what's going on, doesn't get the game at all. Uh like you'll have like glimmers of like her saying something that makes sense. Like
glimmers. Yeah.
every so often, like I'm talking like 9 times out of 10 she'll say something that is completely ridiculous.
Mhm.
And then there's that one time where she'll say something and be like, "Oh,"
It's a
but
real
that's
boy cry
and then
wolf
it's gone.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh, like maybe she does get a little something, and then I hear her say something else, and I'm like, "Oh no, you still don't understand the game."
The
Um,
yeah
I
the
would never vote for Kelley. Like
no.
if I was on a season like this, like I would stay as far away from Kelley as possible. I felt that way watching her preseason interviews. Um, Kelley is exactly what I thought she would be, and just I don't know what she's doing in that house, and I don't think she does either.
Yeah, I really don't think she gets what show she signed up for. I actually think that could apply to a few different people on this season who have no idea what they signed up for. Like, not even in just I didn't watch the show type of way, but like I legitimately don't know what I signed up for. Like, I think Rylie thought he was going on a dating show when he signed up. I think Adrian
Yeah,
thought he
sure.
was. Adrian thought he was literally just going on shows where you do competitions and there was nothing else to it. Um, I don't know what Keanu thought he was signing up for. I think Jimmy thought he was signing up for like the Real Housewives or something. And Kelley, I don't know what she was signing up for. Like I don't know what I think she thought that she was going to Friendship Island where she would find friends. Like cuz I don't know what else she
Do
clearly
you
doesn't
think?
know the
Do you
show.
think what happened? I think what maybe happened was she was supposed to be like in some Mr. Beast video, and she
Yes.
like got on the wrong plane, and or like took the wrong went to the wrong lot. Like in movies where like you pick there's like a table at or like a place and you like pick up a name tag and you have to put your name tag in and then that's allows tells you where to go. I think
Sure,
she
sure.
picked there was another Kelley that was probably cast on Big Brother, and then she picked up that name tag, walked into the studio, and then was like, "I'm here for the thing," and then they're like, "Welcome to Big Brother," and then that's how we got Kelley on Big Brother.
The
Like,
thing is, Kelley would be too like, I guess, polite to even say that there was a mistake too. She'd just be like, "Okay, I guess this is what I'm doing now," and
yeah,
and now she's on the show. And and the thing is, she wants to convince people that like, oh yeah, no, I'm the correct Kelley. Yeah, I know the show. Uh, um, uh, Tucker. Yeah, Tucker. Yeah, I saw some buzz about that guy on social media last year. Yeah, Tucker. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the one player I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tucker, my favorite. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
oh my goodness. She reminds me very much of Hannah from Survivor 45, which is
yes,
like, what are you doing here? Like it is you have literally taken up a spot for somebody else who actually probably wanted to do this. Uh I I don't think yeah, I don't know. There's that's That's it. It just she doesn't belong in the house. She has no chance to win the game. Not a great ally. Should be a target. Everyone should want her out because she's so unpredictable and is not valuable to anyone's game.
yeah,
Uh, so if Kelley makes it to jury, which like if in a perfect world, my perfect world, the next two people voted out would be Mickey and Kelley in some order.
yeah.
Um,
I'd be happy with
everyone
that.
else I can everyone else I can completely tolerate for the most part. There's one person who just really frustrates me, but for the most part I can tolerate everybody else. And uh Kelley is I just I would give this if I were to grade this cast like I've been grading a couple other people. This would be F minus casting. Kelley. Um
Yeah. Here's
right
the thing.
alongside with Riley's casting. Like
Sure.
F minus. Like
Bad. Not
what are
good.
you doing here?
Here's the thing about Kelley, and I completely agree with you. I don't know why they cast her at all. But here's how much of an afterthought I feel like Kelley is in this game in terms of influence. Here I am thinking about Kelley for this podcast about current Big Brother. I'm not thinking about like, okay, what is she gonna do in the game? My curiosity is what she's gonna do after the game. Because you know she's not gonna let her 15 minutes of fame die. She's gonna try to milk that goat for all it's worth. So what's she gonna do? Is she gonna constantly stream on Instagram? Is she gonna try to be a Twitch streamer? Is she gonna try to make goat
Oh, for
centric
sure.
content on Instagram
Oh no,
Blue
this
does
is
baking? Like I don't know.
this is gonna jump off into a podcast of some kind.
God, I
Um
don't want to. Kelley on
where
the
they talk
podcast?
about talk
No.
about talk about farm life. Um
Farm
It's gonna be
101.
Kelley's Farm Life Goat Strong podcast.
Goat
She'll
yoga.
probably
Yeah.
do goat yoga. Yeah, she'll do goat yoga streaming. Um, she'll have guests on. Probably have her castmates come down. Like I think to like some degree, like is Kelley probably a nice, like decent human being that most of her castmates will like wanna, have hang out with after the show? Absolutely, 100%. But in the game, like stay away from me. Don't speak to me. Like I like the only thing that will happen is negative things the more I interact with you. It's just um, you know, I I just she's a hindrance to everyone that she touches, and it
It,
is
it is kind of funny. Well, I don't know if funny is the right word, but after in like week 2 and 3, there were a lot of people going on about like, man, Kelly's really been isolated from the household. Like people really don't respect her. Some people were saying that it feels like bullying to some extent. And I agreed with them, and I still kind of agree with them about that. But the thing is about Kelly is, and this is unfortunate, is that she has been given like leashes to be like, all right, we will allow you to be reintegrated with us. We want you in this alliance. You are still in this game. And I feel like she's just declined them. She's declined the offers to become more of an actual player in the game. And she just almost wants to be on this island by herself and maybe have the game come to her to some extent instead of influencing it at all. And the ways that she tries to influence the game is just by lying to people for no reason and being caught. And it's like, hee hee, okay, I do that sometimes. Haha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's nothing that's not going to endear you with anyone. And I think there was a time where like I would have agreed with that. I think there was like a time early on where Kelley and Keanu were both like just being isolated, iced out of conversations, not just strategy talk, but just conversations, period.
Yeah.
And I understand that the struggle with that. The problem is that the way that Keanu responded was he kept trying to connect with people. He kept trying to work with people. He kept trying to find footing in the game, whereas Kelley just continued to do what she was doing. She continued to instigate. She continued to lie to people and try and get people in different positions. Keanu was over here trying to play the game. Kelley's out here I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Like I can't even really like give a rhyme or reason for what what she's trying to do in the house. I don't think she's trying to do anything. Um which is I think the reason why people at this point just don't like you said, she's an afterthought. Like
She,
I think it's already been decided that Kelley is not winning the game. So
yeah.
it's there's no point in really even like factoring her into the end game.
Yeah, the thing about Kelly that is also interesting is, we were talking earlier about like people like Mickey are so like egotistical and so self-centered and or just, Keanu's the same way, like it's his way or the highway. There's a lot of people like that on this season. Kelly's the same way. The difference is she hasn't had any power yet. If we have the dubious week where Kelley has won HOH, she is going to go on the biggest ego trip. I'm talking bigger than Mickey. Like it will be insane. She might ask somebody to kiss the ring. Like it will be a wild time. But unlike,
I think a Kelley HOH would be my worst nightmare.
I was about to say
Um,
it, and that sounds theoretically, if you knew nothing about Kelley, like that might be somewhat entertaining television. It wouldn't be. It would be the worst. I would hate it.
no,
I might
right.
have to stop
This
watching
is
the season.
yeah, Kelley's not this is not entertaining television. This is just it's just bad television.
If
Really
Keanu wins
is what it is.
HOH, it would be great. If Keanu wins HOH,
Yeah.
it would be chaotic, and he might go on an ego trip himself, but it'll be in like a messy, entertaining sort of way.
Mhm,
Kelly's would be messy and not entertaining. It would,
mhm.
I don't know, it would be awful. But
It
yeah,
would be a disaster is really what it would be. And I feel bad saying that, but it's when you have someone who has no idea what they're doing in the house, no knowledge of the game whatsoever, and doesn't really understand what's happening, like that's kind of what you're left with.
mhm,
At the very least, if someone is understands the game and is just wrong and creates chaos that way, that's what Keanu's doing. Like
yeah,
that can be fun. That can be entertaining. There's nothing about Kelley that I find entertaining. I
no.
think Kelley is yeah, just don't need her.
Well, let's move on to somebody who has no chance of leaving this week, and that would be our current HOH, Vince. What do we think about Vince right now?
Um I think if you're not saying that Big Brother 40 or 27 is the season of Rachel Riley. Big Brother 27 is the season of Vince, Vinny the Lip, if
Yeah.
you will. Uh, I think this is his game to lose.
Mhm.
He is the number one front runner in my opinion. Didn't think that that was going to be the case. I did not get good vibes from Vinny in the preseason. I understood that he was a decent fan of the show, like understood the concepts, wants to be there. So that's great. But like you talk about falling upwards, like probably the most fortunate player, the only player to have benefited from every
I
terrible
know.
decision that is made
It's
by these other
crazy.
people. Um, like from his own terrible decisions, like putting Zay and Kelley on the block, two people that wanted to work with him,
Oh
to
my
the point
god.
where he forced himself into a situation where he had to go against Rachel by also putting Amy on the block. Like just um just bad move, bad decision. After that, somehow came out of it. Jimmy's very bad HOH where he targeted a bunch of people and that he didn't need to and alienated his allies. Like
Mhm.
gets Amy out. Perfect. Exactly what Vince needed. Uh then Lauren's HOH. It's his ally, his number one ally nominates another one of his allies, and
I
his
know.
another one of his allies goes home to Adrian. He votes his ally out, and like it's bad, but somehow he snakes his way through it, and then pushes it all on Zach. Mickey becomes HOH. He should be targeted that week, and somehow, some way, Jimmy, probably one of his bigger ops in the game, goes home. Then, like, every single thing that happens somehow works out to this guy's advantage as he just slithers and snakes his
Yeah.
way. The little weasel like that he is, and like it's fun because it's intentional. You know that he's doing it on purpose, and that's why like the fact that he's getting away with it is so impressive to me. He finds ways to just get people on his side, get people to sympathize with him, empathize with him, while he doesn't do the same, which is so weird to me. Um, like if you were to, I don't think he knows a personal thing about anyone in that house.
No, I really
Like,
don't think he does.
I don't think anyone knows anything, but um, he shares about himself, like things about
Mhm.
himself, and he opens up to like to the people that will speak with him. Like the fact that he's even getting away with the stuff that's going on with Morgan right now.
I know.
Um, the
Crazy.
the flirtiness, and he has a girlfriend. People know that he has a girlfriend, but people know that he's flirting with Morgan. Like it's like the way that he goes about him. Rachel was completely on to him, and now it's to the point where Rachel doesn't look at Vince as an immediate threat.
Mhm.
Just speaks to what Vince has been able to do. Um, and I think that he's in a great spot. I think he made the perfect nominations this week for him to do. He can do whatever he wants. Now,
Yeah.
is he actually going to follow through with any of that? Um, Probably not, because he's also, while I have all these compliments about Vince, he's also one of the uh, like least convictive people that I've ever seen. Um, just to bring it back to sports real quick, you hear these speeches from coaches and uh, key players that make you want to run through a brick wall for them, right? You hear that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Vince, if Vince were to try and hype me up, I think I just might want to turtle and burrow and go home. Uh,
Yeah.
no conviction in anything that the guy says. He does not ooze any level of confidence in any of his decisions. Um, just the worst kind of ally to have. And yet people trust him. People don't want to. People don't want him to leave. He he voted out Rylie this week and somehow convinced Keanu and Kelley that it's okay. I he's benefiting from the lack of good gameplay in the house,
Yeah.
and he on any other season he gets annihilated. I think he's
Mhm.
on last season. He's gone. He's on season 25. He's gone. Season 24. He maybe is able to wave. He probably makes it to jury on season 24 somehow, but he's clocked by
Yeah.
everyone in the leftovers. So he's he's the I think he's I would classify him as a villain.
Oh yeah.
And
No. Yeah.
reality TV needs villains, and he's that. He's the mustache is perfect because he's the mustache twirling
Hmm.
kind of villain. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say when he gets out of the house because I want to see how much of it he owns and how much of it he doesn't.
Yeah.
Um, does he really think that he's not this conniving, snivelly little weasel? Or does he know that he's a conniving, sniveling little weasel? Uh, so that's what I want to see. I think he knows. I think he knows that he's you know I think he recognizes the fact that yeah, he's playing everybody.
Vince is the player I didn't think was possible, and here's why. I did not think it was possible to be as low life, obvious in your duplicitousness, and
Mhm.
just such a whiny little guy who's always sad or upset about something, and have it actually work, and people respect it. People don't just say I'll keep you in the game. Sure, they actively respect it and are like, yeah, no, you're right. You're right to be sniveling and sad all the time. You know,
I understand. It totally makes sense. I get why you flipped on us.
I can't
Uh,
I can't
like
even
the fact that
yeah.
he went to Rylie and said, "I'm just so weak. I wish I was a man like you,
That was
Rylie." Like I
crazy.
just
Yeah. Um, Vince
like
is Vince is not a snake because snakes, they do have vertebrae. They have spines.
yeah, and they
He's
have
like a
some bite, and they have bite.
yes. Vince is like a slug. He's just like kind of a mound of something that's alive and moves throughout the game
He's no,
so obviously.
he's a cockroach. He's a
Yeah.
cockroach.
Hmm.
And people are gonna try and stomp on him and stomp on him, and he's just gonna survive
Yeah.
somehow, some way, annoy his way into the end game. Where if there are physical comps, he's probably gonna be the one to take him home. I think he's smart enough to win like BB Comics. Like I think he would be the favorite in that. Any of those like running back and forth comps,
Hmm.
he'll be that. I think he could have a Jag like run if he ends up making it to the end game, especially now that he decided that he was going to target people like Rylie.
That
Um, I think the biggest threat to his game is a combination of Rachel and Keanu. And as long as Rachel and Keanu aren't unified, Vince is gonna, I think, cakewalk his way to the end.
yeah. That
Which
that's the
that's kind
thing
of where
about
we're at right
Vince for me right now is that his path to victory is as simple as right now this week it looks like assuming that Mickey doesn't win veto or the BB blockbuster, she's going home. That's step 1. Step 2 is getting rid of Rachel. And from then on, I think he wins. I think he wins cuz the
now.
other biggest comp threats in the game are Keanu, who seems to be actively convincing himself that yeah, no, Vince has to be my number one ally because there are no other guys left in the game. um
Mhm.
Lauren is extremely loyal to Vince. Morgan is extremely loyal to Vince. Even if Rachel somehow wins HOH next week, and puts him on the block, whoever he's next to is going home. I think he's the most secure person in the game in terms of pure
The
numbers.
literal only person that I think anyone could be convinced to vote out that to keep instead of Vince, I think is Ava. I
Maybe,
think that's the only
maybe,
shot, and I don't even feel confident saying that.
yeah,
I think that's the only realistic chance where you could get people, and I don't think Rachel could be the one to do it, which is the problem.
that's
I think
true.
Rachel would
Also,
have to be a vote. Um, so the person that would need to do it would be someone who thinks that they can put Vince up as a pawn, and at this point in the game, no one's gonna do it, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where it is.
Also, the thing about
Yeah, because
Rachel, if I can speak on
Will
that very
maybe
quickly,
Will maybe.
is Rachel has been making decisions that people in the game actively want to do the opposite of, like legitimately. Like if Rachel says, "I want, Vinny to go home," then that just makes Keanu be like, "Well, then we can't do Vinny," or it makes Mickey be like,
Mhm.
"Well, we can't get rid of Vinny then." I think the same would be true if she put him up as her primary target again. Same thing would happen.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. Just to touch back on Rachel, this has been a very interesting season, because it's like everything goes back and forth in terms of what Rachel wants. Rachel wanted Zay out, Zay left. Rachel wanted to keep Amy, that didn't work out.
Hmm.
Rachel wanted did she want Adrian gone?
I think she
I
did.
can't
Yeah.
remember where she stood.
By the
Um,
end, I think she did. Yeah.
yeah, I think she would have preferred Kelley even over Adrian though, but like obviously she was never going to vote out Will.
Yeah.
Um, Then what happened? Jimmy goes. That's not what she wanted. Uh, then it's Zach. Rachel wanted to work with Zach, I believe, to
Yeah,
some
she
extent,
did.
but not more than Keanu. So like that was kind of like you know there. And then now then Rachel wins HOH and finally gets her way. And Rylie goes home. So it's been really back and forth, a real seesaw game for Rachel here.
Hmm.
Um, so I just think that I think she had a lot of time to try and get Vince out, and she was never able to land the shot. Um, when she should have taken it a long time ago, and now I think it might be too late.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't foresee a scenario where Vince goes home. Not
No.
until final four,
Yeah, I agree.
five maybe. Final five maybe, if depending on like who the five is.
It would have to
Um,
be Vince screws it up if he goes home at final five. It would have been he made a decision of which side to go to that was the wrong one. But
yeah,
that's
where he just got if he went to the end with the judges, for example,
yeah.
like then that's a bad for him. He can't do that. He can't get to the five with the judges. Because then it's him and Morgan against Rachel, Will, and uh
Uh
Ashley.
yeah.
He doesn't want he can't do that.
Mhm.
He needs Lauren in there somewhere. So like if Lauren's there at 6, that's great for him.
Yeah.
Unless Morgan, because Morgan and Lauren are still targeting each other, which is like how is he getting away like I don't get it. Like it's his two number one allies are targeting each other and they should be targeting him. It
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
it's crazy. Well, let's move on and let's talk about one of those number one allies. Let's talk about Lauren. Lauren is here. She is in the game. And what do we think about Lauren, who is still here on this season, Big Brother 27? Hmm.
There isn't a player in this game that frustrates me more than Lauren.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
crazy. Yeah.
I there's one thing with Vinny like not having a backbone, but like I get it with him. Like he's trying to play a particular style of game, and not having a backbone is fine for him.
Yeah, I respect it
Lauren,
honestly because I could never
yeah,
stoop to that low of a level. Like he's
yeah,
he's playing
he's
sewer Big Brother. Like he's in the trenches.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
I
and
enjoy it.
he's in it. Like no, it's fun to watch. Lauren, if you wanted to go on Big Brother, you had to have known that you were going to be faced with making difficult decisions at times.
Or just
The fact that
decisions.
Lauren, or just decisions in general. The fact that Lauren is so timid and is so like petrified to play Big Brother. Like she looks like someone who like this is like her biggest fear is playing Big Brother. Like,
He got
and
pranked.
I don't understand it because she understands the show.
Yeah.
She understands the game. She has some good reads. She
Mhm.
recognized that Riley's not someone that uh needed to go home, but she was manipulated by her ally into using the veto when she never should have because he was safe that week.
Yeah.
Like she easily could have solidified an alliance that I think she sits pretty in. Like was so perfectly insulated in the Bond alliance that developed with Will and Adrian and Ava and Zach and Vince. Like that is would have been the perfect alliance for her
Mhm.
because there were 3 people in that alliance that were loyal to her with 2 bigger meat shield targets, 3 bigger meat shield targets, I'm sorry, with Vince, Zach, and Adrian. And she puts 2 of them on the block. Like it's because she couldn't make a decision in terms of like what she wanted to do with her nominations and like who she wanted to target. Like anytime like people were asking her for her opinion on anything, uh let's talk to Vince.
Yeah.
Uh um I don't sorry, I'm not doing it right.
Um.
Um so
That's
I
um.
think
If
I
you're all right
want
with it, um.
to
What I
use
was
it. I
thinking
don't know.
was, yeah.
I don't
I
I'm
don't
not
know. She
sure.
doesn't know. The way that
Um
I would encapsulate Lauren the social game and really just her game in general is a very funny conversation, at least to me, that happened yesterday, which is Vince is the HOH, her number one ally. And she doesn't really want I believe she didn't really want Ava on the block, if I recall correctly. And
mhm,
Vince wanted to put Ava on the block. And so the way that he tells her that Ava's going on the block, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, yeah, I told you that I is going to put Ava on the block, right? I think this is after the ceremony." And she's like, well, and Vince just walks away in the middle of her like trying to muster up the courage to respond
to
to her number
address
one ally.
address address not only the fact that he put up someone that she didn't want on the block, but still has not really addressed the fact that he voted against her.
Yeah,
Um, Something that he tried to tip her off about several times, and yet she didn't then go tell her other allies. Like, it's so she should be so much better at this game, and the only reason she isn't is because she just lacks the ability to do anything because she's
crazy.
scared. Like that is something I didn't think I was gonna see from Lauren. She's just scared. Like, which I'm too scared. I can't do it alone. She literally said the words to ask about going to tell Rachel that she wanted to use the veto. I can't do it alone. Is what she
It's
said.
crazy. I'll tell you
No,
what.
no one has the veto, but you, Lauren. You have the veto. You decide. Just
the
go to Rachel, and if Rachel doesn't want you to use it, go tell Rachel why, and
Yeah,
you can figure it out. Like, hey, I understand that a lot of people are saying that Vince is safe this week, but I don't trust it because the people who are telling me I don't trust Rachel, I don't trust Keanu, I don't trust Kelley. Like, that's why I feel like I need to. I don't think you should either. I think you should nominate one of them. Like,
we were talking earlier about the idea of like people signed up for different shows. Like Kelly signed up
mhm.
for Friendship Island. Uh, Rylie signed up
Rylie
for
signed up
Love
for Farmer
Island.
Wants a Wife.
Yeah,
Farmer Wants
yes,
a Wife.
exactly.
Yep.
I think Kelly signed up for like going to some sort of like Big Brother meetup event when she views like Big Brother the same way that she would view like the Halloween or series or like Saw, where it's like
I think
yeah,
yeah, I think Lauren thought she was going to like an RHAP Big Brother live event.
yeah.
Actually,
And,
like Big Brother fan club.
and
Is
it's like
kind of what it was.
she watches the show with like her eyes covered, like you would a horror movie. It's like, yeah, no, I enjoy the Saw movies, but I wouldn't want to be in the Saw trap. And that's kind of what's
Yeah.
happened to Lauren. Is now she finds herself in the midst of her greatest nightmare, which is being on Big Brother. Really, the biggest nightmare for a lot of people, or at least it should be. But yeah.
No, yeah, I've this is Lauren plays Big Brother like she is living out her greatest nightmare,
And
and
she's
that
like,
is
how do I become the final girl? Like, how do I stay alive and not be killed by Big Brother? You know,
uh,
it's pretty amazing. Every time she goes
no,
into the
yeah,
diary room, she's expecting to literally be murdered. Like, it's wild.
I think yeah, Lauren's place in the game. I don't know. Could be something good depending on some comp outcomes. Does she have a chance to win the game? Sure. Like
Sure.
technically, do I realistically see her putting herself in a position where she can win the game? Probably not. She needs to sit at the end with someone like Kelley, um, which most likely won't happen. Uh, could she get to the end and sit next to Catherine? Yeah, but then she would probably need to specifically be the one to cut Vince. Like she sits next to Catherine and Vince at Final Three, and then wins Final Three HOH and cuts Vince. She can win, but I think that would like I think that is a situation where we literally might need medical to like go into the Big Brother house to like resuscitate her because I think let alone playing the game Big Brother to be the final three HOH winner to have to make a decision live on television, um, who you're going to take to the end to potentially win the game. I think she might literally have a panic attack and potentially like
Yeah.
I'm not making that up. I think she
No,
might
I
like
think you're right.
legitimately like might keel over and die.
Well, it's
Um,
funny because earlier I was saying that, oh, I mean, Rachel probably wouldn't beat many people. I changed my mind. I think she would beat Lauren because imagine Lauren trying to make a final two speech. Imagine her trying to answer questions and take accountability. They would have to add a whole nother half-hour time slot to that, CBS would, just to make it through. Um,
um,
so
yeah,
yeah.
I think that'd be CBS's biggest nightmare is Lauren is sitting at the, in the final two chairs.
Mhm.
Um, I don't two things that I think Lauren is completely ill-equipped for: sitting in the final two chairs and having an interview with Julie, which I don't think could go well. Maybe if she's interviewing Julie, the pressure would be off and she would be able to like loosen up
Maybe.
a bit. But right now, she's like a cardboard cutout. Like that is
I
currently
think
in the house.
I think she would like to replace herself with a cardboard cutout and then leave and go home.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I one of the more frustrating players. I think on paper, this is a casting mistake that I can be okay with because on paper, I think she has everything that it takes to be a good Big Brother player. I just don't think you can account for the fact that oh wait, this is actually like your biggest fear
Mhm.
is being on this show. Sorry, that wasn't in the questionnaire.
Yeah.
Um
Are you
yeah,
scared of the show you're signing up for? Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, I forgot to ask that. So yeah,
yeah.
that's where I'm at on Lauren.
Like Morgan, she's kind of playing below her floor at the moment. Like she should be good. I mean, unlike Morgan, she's won a competition, won multiple competitions.
Yep.
But I still feel like it's rough times for her.
I don't know if there's a way to for anyone to like really respect her game.
Yeah.
Um,
Eh,
other than like she could maybe muster a couple of vote. No, she couldn't. I
her,
can't. I can't see her sitting at like you said. Like, what does she do in the final two chairs? It would be like
her
I think
own
I don't know if she'd say anything. I don't. She probably would just not say words.
her own HOH. Not only was all the credit for her own terrible decisions given to Vince, she also gave her own credit to Vince. She was basically like, I couldn't have done this without Vince. I think she said that. So, I mean, like, hello? Hi? This isn't, multiple people aren't winning this. This isn't like the challenge where you can win with somebody else. Like,
With a team.
yeah.
Um, I oh god, imagine Lauren on the challenge, and having to
I
make
don't
a
want to.
decision on the challenge.
No.
That'd be good. She just Lauren. I was talking with Pam about this. Lauren will be a great Big Brother player in 5 years.
Maybe.
I
That's
think
what
it's
we
just,
can
I
hope
just think
for.
it's I think she plays big. She's okay. So I know that her age is 22. She's actually 15.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
which
very true.
is
Yeah.
evident by the food that she makes for herself. Like she's a child in there.
I didn't know what
Um,
did she make for herself? I
and
didn't even know.
oh, like she makes like cucumber rolls with lunch meat, and
Gotcha.
she chicken nuggets with like, and she like cuts them
Hmm.
up. Uh, she's a literal child.
Yeah.
Um, and like the thing is, like the people she's playing with, she doesn't look at them like her peers.
Yeah.
Like
That's a
she
good
looks
point.
at everyone she's playing with, she looks at like authority figures.
Hmm.
And once she turns 28 years old, she'll, I will hope, become a full-fledged adult.
Yeah, as somebody who's 22 myself, I could relate to that idea maybe of like, going on the show and feeling like, okay, I'm not necessarily on the same level, or, maybe being, scared to make a move against somebody. Like I guess I could understand that to some extent, but also those would be things in the back of my mind. That wouldn't be my game. I would still be trying to play and like not trying to let that dictate what move is best for my game, because she does have good reads. It's just she doesn't listen to them and is too scared to listen to them. That's the thing.
She she treated Rachel as HOH like the prince, like having to go to the principal's office.
Yeah.
Like that is how that's how she acted. Like I'm gonna have to go tell the principal that I'm about to do something wrong. Like
Imagine playing Blood in the Clock Tower and it's like I don't even know what the best comparison would be, but there's like uh God, I don't know. There's like the king is in play, and like everybody knows the king's there, and you go to the king and you're like, I'm about to take my Slayer shot. Is that all right? Can I take my Slayer shot? It's like,
yeah,
and I was thinking about shooting CJ with it. Is that okay? Would you be all right with that? It's
yeah.
crazy.
That's basically. Um, I think Lauren would be like crumble as the demon in a game of Blood on the Clock Tower.
It would be a sad thing to watch, I think, unfortunately. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
tough.
Great girl. But I think that is how she's viewed, is she's just a little girl in there.
Hmm.
And that's unfortunate, because I think she has the potential to be one of the better players. Again, she'll be a really great player on All Stars 5 years from now.
Well, I don't think she'll make it to All
She wouldn't.
Stars.
No,
But
she would never be cast on All Stars.
yeah,
Well, I don't know. I would have said that about Christmas too. But
fair enough. All right, let's move
so
on
she she's
to.
she's uh she's Haley Ford.
All right, yeah, no, maybe. I mean, she was a game changer. Perhaps Lauren can be as well. All right, let's move
Uh,
on
to
to
everyone but
Will.
Haley.
What do we think about Will?
Another one of my faves.
Yeah.
Will, I think, is again just such a great person to cast. This is why it's okay to have older players in Big Brother.
Hmm.
Um, I think Will. I go back and forth with him, but I think it's not his fault. I think he has like a social battery that he like continues to try. Like he needs to recharge. And every so often he then is able to like, oh, I'm all charged up now, I'm ready to go, let's go play Big Brother. And then he
Hmm.
exhausts his social battery, and then he like sinks back in. Then he cocoons and he curls up in the corner of the loft bed. And then he just sits there and chats, and like and he and Ava will talk, and they'll Then
Yeah.
they'll shit talk and build, like have a good read on the game, knows exactly what he needs to be doing.
Mhm.
Never seen anyone mimic people like Will does. Another person who is great at talking for hours without actually saying anything.
Great at that. He's really
Great
good at
skill.
that.
He is in such a good spot currently. No one's looking to target him. No one thinks that they need to be taking him out for any reason, which is a mistake. There are plenty of people who should be trying to take Will out, but just he's got so much cover. Um, and honestly, I think someone who literally only needs to make a couple of moves to get the win equity necessary to be respected and win the game.
Yeah.
He'll need to win comps at some point, which is not looking great. So which is why I don't have a lot of faith that it'll happen. But he could fall into a quiz comp. He can win it. He wins the right quiz comp and makes a move. He's solid. He had the opportunity to win the knockout comp. He could have it's not like completely impossible for there to be a world where he wins an HOH or two. Um, don't think he's a good candidate for final HOH. He would need to be taken, I think, to the end by somebody that
Mhm.
he could beat. Um, but there are a lot of people that I think Will could be at the end. So as long as that remains the case, and you're not a target for anybody, you're in a great spot. And no one's looking at Will right now. Super entertaining, great for the shows. He is, yeah, love Will.
Yeah, I mean, Will's great. I mean, behind Ashley, probably my second favorite contestant on the season. Um, I think Will kind of has a similar problem to Ava, who we'll also talk about, which is they theoretically are some of the better players on the cast for sure, but it's just a matter of like, okay, but like, how did they get to the end though? And that's sort of how I feel about Will is what is his actual path forward that isn't just getting to Final Five and then getting cut? Like, how does he actually make the end? And the answer is with comp wins, but neither him nor Ava's won a comp, but I don't have faith in them necessarily like I do Keanu to win his way to the end or somebody like that. So we'll see. I also think Will at some point will become somewhat of a threat in terms of like this guy has a good story, people like this guy. We're not there yet. So Will's still in a good position, but I'm just worried about the future for him.
Yeah, shooing for jury. Without a shadow of a doubt. I don't I think he could probably you can pencil Will in for final six probably
Yeah.
at this point. So yeah, and at that point, you just need a comp win to really shake things up at that point. Um I think Will's the kind of person who would be in trouble in a double. Um
Yeah. That makes sense.
with wrong comp wins and people having to make nominations really quick. I think Will that's where he would probably find himself in the most trouble. Will, Ava, Ashley, those people are probably the people who I'd be most concerned with in a double eviction situation. Um, but other than that, he just on his the days where his social battery is running, he just needs to make the right pushes at the right times. And just hope that happens. But he's someone who's he's like off 2 days on 1 day.
Yeah,
So it's like are you going to be on the right days that you need to be on? Um, but lets the game happen around him a little too much to my liking. But I think that's a little intentional. Um,
for sure.
because I think there are just so many people who are targeting each other. Like I don't think he really needs to do much at this point. Um, I think he needed to. I think I would have liked him to do more for the Rylie eviction. Um,
Yeah.
but it just worked out for him anyway. Um, but other than that, ever since the last time that he was on the block, I think he's been playing as well as he possibly could. And kudos to him because he's got himself in a great spot. A lot of the people who would have been difficulties for him, Zach, Jimmy, like Rylie, like all these people, boom, boom, boom. They're gone out like couldn't shape it up better for Will, honestly. So he's he's playing great. Just needs to be a little bit more active, and if he wins a comp, he's right there.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I do think he's been playing about as well as he can play. I believe he's been doing something smart, which nobody else on this season has been doing, which is knowing that he doesn't necessarily have to like do things. He doesn't have to. He can let the game come to him, and
Mhm.
doesn't have to, be in a position where he has to make a decision, which is different from somebody like Lauren or even Vince, who also don't want to make decisions, but they also put themselves in positions where they have to make decisions all the time. Will doesn't do that, which I think is a line that is hard to ride, but he does it well. Um, yeah, I like Will. I want him to do well. I would love if he won. We'll just see what happens. So with that,
Rooting for Will.
let's move on to our final contestant that we have to talk about, the aforementioned Ava. Ava, what do we think about Ava?
Another love. Perfect casting for Big Brother. Like the Dave is the kind of personality, the kind of people that you want in the house. Um, she, I don't think she knows the game either. I think she knows the show,
Yeah.
but not the game. And so, but gets, I think she gets the game, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
I do too.
Um, so like I think she understands what's going on, and I think that I think she knows what she needs to do. I just think she's just really um easily influenced is her issue, and I think that's kind of what happened with Mickey. Um, it's kind of happening with Vince, like a
Mhm.
little bit. Um, and whereas I thought Ava was one of the people that like would target Vince no matter what. Now I don't think that's the case anymore, which is more credit to Vince. Um, but to really smooth his relationship with Ava over to the point where Ava's not super mad that she's on the block right now. But I think Ava also knows that she's not getting voted out.
Yeah.
So there's that too. Um, I'm a little worried that Ava might just put herself in a position to be a perpetual pawn the rest of the way,
Yeah, that's how I
which
feel. Yeah.
is scary. That's not really a good way to get yourself respect. I think Ava, like Will, needs to be a little bit more active in terms of, I take that back because I think Ava's pretty open about who she wants out, and the way that she wants the game to go. I think she wants Mickey out, which I think is good for Ava. I think Mickey leaving is good for Ava. I think that completely betters her position. I don't think she's a target for anyone, um, like a real target for anyone, when she should be. But and I think she beats a lot of people if she gets to the end with them.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Lauren, Catherine, um, Ashley, uh, Morgan, Rachel. Like I think Ava's in
Yeah.
a really, really good spot. I think the worst thing she can do is sit next to Will. Honestly, I don't think that's a good thing for her. I think she could beat Vince, depending on what
Oh
happens.
no,
Um,
I wouldn't be that
no,
crazy.
no. Hear me out. I think if Vince burns enough people, like Vince could be a victim of a bitter jury. I think.
He's already burned
Um,
so many people, though. Is the thing.
right, but would get to a point where like Rachel's on the jury, and Rachel is like, as people are coming in, like, I told you couldn't trust Vince, Keanu. I told you he
Yeah.
was gonna burn you, like,
Yeah.
thing like that. I think Vince be fall victim to a bitter jury who votes for Ava because they like Ava. Like that's the only like scenario. Like as far as like gameplay, like Vinny, he's laps better than Ava.
Sure.
But like this is a Paul over Josh, or Josh over Paul situation that I'm talking
Yeah.
about here. And that was shouldn't have even happened either because people didn't like Josh either. So it's like, um, so I just think that Ava just needs to keep doing what she's doing. Um, Stay out of the lane, but just stick up for herself a little bit more. Um, like why are you just if Rachel wins HOH and says Ava, I'm thinking about putting you up, like why? Like just stick up for herself a little bit more. And then good. Like this week, I don't think it's bad that Ava's a pawn. I think I don't think she's in any danger, and that's kind of like the only situations where you should be okay with being a pawn
Yeah.
is when you're not in any danger. Um, it's but then in a situation where it doesn't make sense, like you shouldn't do it. Like Vince putting up Ava makes sense. Will putting up Ava would never make sense.
Yeah.
So it's like these are the kind of things that I think Ava needs to navigate, and I think she understands that. I think she just needs to like take a little bit more agency in the game. Like if she wants something to happen, like stand on it.
Yeah.
And I think she can put herself in a good position. I think she's definitely one of the front runners. Could win America's favorite player, like I mentioned before. But I think she just needs. While there are a bunch of people who probably need like a lot of comp wins and a lot of good count outcomes, Ava is someone who maybe only needs like one or two,
Yeah.
like to
I,
put herself in a position to win the game.
I think two things can be true. I think that she can, it seems like she is going more and more the direction of being a perpetual pawn. But I also think it's true that she's still, regardless of that, has some of the highest win equities still in the game. I think both of those
Mm.
things are true. Don't think they're mutually exclusive. I don't think being on the block potentially week after this helps, certainly. But with the way things are going, Ava is not the biggest fish to fry for most people. Um, Now, what you were saying about like Vince and him potentially losing to Ava because of Rachel just kind of makes me feel like there should be some amount of doubling down on okay, if somebody wins the veto and it's used, you got to put up Rachel and you got to get rid of her this week, because you're right, that is a I can envision a bit bitter jury for Vince, which I didn't really think about before, but yeah, that would help Ava out a lot. Like the way things are going, I could see she probably has the second highest win equity in the game still. But like Will, for me, it's just a matter of getting there. Like, how does she get there? Because she's probably gonna have to be taken there, and who's gonna take her there? It's a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, it's and I think that the way that it happens is she somehow gets into a final three that includes Will.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that if she does that, I think there's a that increases the likelihood that she gets taken. Um, could she end up winning a comp against someone like, let's say, a Morgan? I could see Morgan choking in a final three
Well,
comp. Um,
yeah, I can easily see that actually. Yeah,
so I can I think that there could be a situation where that could happen. I just think as long as Ava keeps Will in the game and they're together, it increases their every step that they make together, they continue in the game together, the better each of their odds are of winning.
yeah. All right, that all makes sense to me. And with that,
Mhm.
that wraps us up. Do you have any final thoughts on what's going on in Big Brother 27 right now, or anything else in general?
I think it's a good point, where we just kind of have here. It's basically the official halfway point of the season. And like right before we get into the real jury. In most seasons, this would be not most in most modern seasons, jury would start here.
Mhm.
Um, but I believe that we're going to go to a smaller jury, a jury of 7 as opposed to a jury of 9. So this is a really good time to like look at each player individually, see where they're going, look at what their potential paths are to the end. I think what happened last week opened the doors for almost everyone to have a shot to win the game.
Yeah,
Um, Really damaged a lot of people's outcomes, like Catherine. I think Catherine took a really big hit. And then the people who had no chance or still don't have a chance, like
yeah,
Mickey, Kelley. Um, that's just the thing. But like, getting Rylie out opens the door for someone like Keanu to steal a win from somebody. Opens the door for people like Will. opens the door for Ava. Ashley, but don't think Ash would help, but like there's Rachel now has a path. It's
Yeah.
there. She just has to, it's all about competitions at that point for Rachel. It sucks when you're in a position where you're reliant on the competition outcomes to win, which is why people like Will and Ava are in such good spots. But I think other than that, uh, it's I think we're in for an interesting season, and I think that's what happens when you have a volatile players like this. Um, Players who aren't playing optimally, you don't know what to predict. There's no
Mhm.
like clear path. There's no like dominant alliance that's like running roughshod. No one trusts each other, and I think that's the beauty of. And I'll just bring it back to the blockbuster. Um, the AI arena, it creates enough uncertainty because you never know exactly what the outcome is going to be at the end of the week.
Yeah.
And as long as that remains in place, it allows for fluid gameplay.
It's dynamic.
Um, yeah, which is I think the best decision that Big Brother has made in terms of their twists over the last 5 years, which a lot of their twists have been absolute flops, broken the game, been absolute disasters.
Zombie week.
Whereas this
Yeah.
one, Zombie Week, uh, a Dire Fest, the Festy Bestie twist, like things that like tank gameplay. And this allows gameplay to flow and be natural. Like we never had a solid alliance in BB26. Why? Because you never knew who was going to be the end up on the block at the end of the
Mhm.
week. That's the same with this season. We've had how many alliances come through? The heavy hitters, the bond, uh
Burger Boys.
Triple Threat, the Burger Boys, um,
Heavy hitters
the
too.
judges now. Uh, Everyone's got a different final two that no one really trusts. I don't even know. Has Catherine been in an alliance that's been named? I don't think so.
I didn't think
Like,
so.
I don't think. I think she just has a final two, kind of with Lauren, and had her showmance. Um, and that's it.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just the unreliable or the unexpendables, whatever that
Oh my
was,
god.
Keanu,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rylie, Vince thing, um, the melting pot. Like none
There's
of
been
them.
a lot of nothing.
Yeah, it's all been nothing, and I think it's all because of the blockbuster and the
Yeah.
impact that it has. It has its pros and cons. Obviously, it's another comp that people have to navigate, but I think all the blockbusters have been so equitable that it allows for diverse uh outcomes. I think now, if I'm thinking back, you've had Kelley win a blockbuster. You've
Hmm.
had Adrian win a blockbuster. You've had Kelley win another blockbuster. Uh,
Keanu.
Keanu, um,
Keanu again,
Rylie.
right? Yeah. No, Riley. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I think Keanu's only won one.
yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Rylie, and now Mickey. Like it's been it's allowed for different outcomes. It hasn't just been one thing, and I think that as long as that remains to be the case, and the blockbuster is never like you know some endurance comp, I think its staying power in Big Brother remains good. Um, like if imagine if BB25 Sari had to deal with the blockbuster, like what she would have had to deal with in Big Brother 25.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I think I think the show remains interesting. It remains dynamic and unpredictable. And I think that's what you want. Um, I think it's unfortunate that we have players who are not playing selfishly
Yeah.
and not optimally, and I think that's a problem. I think it benefits players like Vince, who is only playing selfishly, and uh, and that's why he's in the best position in the game. I think. Uh, I think if slightly different cast, Vince probably finds himself in way more trouble. Everyone probably finds
Yeah.
himself in way more trouble, which is why BB27 should probably be dubbed Big Brother First Boots. Um,
There you go.
because this is like I said, everyone has a reason for being a first boot.
Yeah.
At any point, including Rachel. so
Mhm.
it's that's kind of where we're at.
And I think that's where we'll end it. Big Brother 27 landed the first boots. Thank you so much
Yep.
for joining, CJ. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks for
And I'll
having me.
see you for the next episode, whenever that may be. So goodbye, everybody. Have a good one. Adios.